if you're taken by storm, it's not Friday yet.
We're not going to have as many viewers.
We're probably not.
No. I mean, normally there's tens of tens.
Yeah.
We're on a different day.
So,
but if you made it with us because you're loyal followers, good to see you.
Yeah. We don't really have a large agenda. I do know that the people in Florida need our prayers.
Well, Florida's a horrible state. Yeah, I pray for Florida often.
No, you don't. You don't even pray for Florida.
No, I don't. It's the West Virginia surrounded by the water.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but they do.
You're talking about the hurricane.
Yeah.
Oh.
The hurricane.
Okay, hurricane.
I guess the question is this: why do they need our prayers now and not any other time?
I want to say I was very forward thinking and telling you that I pray for Florida all the time, even though you call me a liar.
But you were. You don't pray for Florida. I'm pretty sure you don't.
People don't know that.
So the only time we pray for a group of people is when bad things are happening.
When they're in turmoil.
Yeah.
Yeah. What seems triage.
Right? So
we only take care of the bad stuff. Let's get the real bad stuff. And
so when a bad thing happens in a community, that's when we have an all-night prayer vigil, not before it happens.
It seems to happen on television.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got a lot of teddy bears and candlelight and signs when there wasn't a school shooting at any school on any given day.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Right.
We'll see you at the poll.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah. So there are some good aspects of teaching concerning prayer and how important it is. But even prayer, like I think we were talking today, Matt and I were talking earlier, that prayer many times is motivated by and this also comes from a book I've been reading, Finding God by Larry Crabb. But prayer oftentimes becomes, we're motivated to pray because we want to keep our nice, happy little box of life that we want to live in. And so our motivations for prayer is, God, can you make this right? Can you make this the way I want it? Can you fix this issue in my life? Not because I necessarily want to know you, not because this will be good for your kingdom, but because I need happiness and I need this to work out because it's really bugging me right now. And that's something that I've been coming to grips with for a while now. Any thoughts on that?
Well, we talked earlier in our pregame show, about the idea, like I, as a 12, 13, 14-year-old, I would pray like, God, just let me drive a car. Like, because I was a rapture person then.
Before the world ends.
Before the world ends. Before you come back and take me, because, as a good Assemblies of God guy, he's coming any minute.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many studies we had about he's coming back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other video, right?
Right.
But either way, so I'd go home and my prayer would be, just let me drive a car. And then my prayer would be, just let me go to prom. Just let me graduate high school. Just let me have a family. Just let me start a life. And we were talking today, and I put together that, like, we basically are saying, and this goes to putting your life in a box. I want my neat box, no matter what that neat box is. We're saying, God, you've moved and created and made earth and the heavens and the stars. You've put this plan in motion so that we would love you, go through all the annals of history. Okay. Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, Moses, David, Solomon, to Jesus, to the Dark Ages and Enlightenment and Industrial Revolution and where we are now. I'm basically saying, God, your plan has marched forward for 6,000 years. Put it on hold so I can drive a car.
Right.
Put it on hold so that my family's not sick. Put it on hold so that whatever we want. We're saying, God, you take all of humanity and put it on hold so that my life is how I want it.
Yeah.
This is what we do with prayer.
Yeah.
Right?
It does seem to be the mantra. Did I use that word correctly?
Well, it could be where were you going? Who's Monterey? Of the modern day church? I would say so.
Yeah.
Of
Of
humanity?
prayer. Yeah.
Of spiritualism.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's the mantra of spiritualism, of being spiritual.
Right. I kind of, it disturbs me a little bit in my heart because I try to struggle through the idea that God does care. I mean, it's there's no question that Jesus spoke often about this idea that he really cares for us. Even Peter said, cast your cares upon him because he cares for you. Jesus himself said, don't you know that if a sparrow falls to the ground, it doesn't fall to the ground without your Father knowing it, and aren't you more valuable than they? And so then he talks often about ask, whatever you wish, and seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you. And much of that could be misinterpreted because he's talking more about the kingdom and about his presence and about knowing him than it is about having stuff. And yet at the same time, we know that he cares about the physical things because when he was here on earth, I mean, people would touch him and they would be healed. People would say, Lord, my servant is sick. And if you come, he'll live. And Jesus says, go, your servant lives.
But what was the motivation?
Well,
Is the motivation so that, grandma can go play bingo after she's healed? The motivation of those people was that they believed. Does that make sense?
It does, but do you think they believed as well as you think, or do you think it was just, hey, my son's sick and I can't handle this? This isn't in my neat box. My son, it hurts me that my son's sick. I'm really struggling with this, so I need you to fix this for me, Jesus.
Well, I would call it, and this is where I start to sound stupid maybe, but I would call that an ill motivation because that's for your box.
Right.
When you talk about he healed the sick in the Bible, those were people, I think that was a testimony to proper application of belief and prayer. They knew they could be healed by this man, this Jesus, and so they believed, and for that they were healed. They didn't want to get healed for the sake of being healed. I'm sure, that's got to be there, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to say that's not there. But they believed on him that he could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was deeper than just fixing my stuff.
Right.
It was a belief in him and a following and a desire. They desired to find him like we should.
Yeah.
We should desire and seek him and find him so that we can know, so that we can be healed from death.
Yeah. Eternal death.
Eternal death.
Yeah. Because, I try to watch my motives, especially recently.
It almost makes it harder, by the way. BTW, that makes it harder to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it's just part of humanity that I don't want my son to be sick. I don't want to be sick. I want things to work out, the way that it is good and pleasing and comfortable for my life. But but like Crabb said in his book, if that is your only motive and that's what you're going to God for, then that's so selfish and so self-centered that's not even funny.
Yeah.
And I have to confess that that's where I've been in different places of my life, and I don't want to be there anymore. And what's interesting is we can even disguise it and almost try to deceive God. God, I want to know you. And I think that's what I was doing for some time is, God, I want to know you. But there was a part of that motivation of wanting to know him was because if I get to know you, you'll fix my world.
Mm-hmm.
You'll make it right.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I want to know you, whether my world's fixed or not.
Right.
Boy, that's hard for a human.
Yeah. Well, it's the difference between waiter in the sky or you being a servant of the creator of the universe. Right. And I would say that it's very easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We say I want when we should say I want what he wants.
Right. Well, it goes back to the garden. Everybody's always brought this up, and it's
Well, it's where it started.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm talking about the Garden of Gethsemane,
Oh,
where Jesus prays, you know,
yeah.
hey, I don't want to take this cup. I don't want to drink this cup, but not my will, your will.
Yeah.
And that's at the end of the day. That's where it's supposed to be. But that's still hard because of the human aspect of it. It's a tough place to get to.
Well, it's anti-self-preservation,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all have a self-preservation instinct.
Right.
We want what's best for us. We want what is equitable and works out right for us. And let's just talk about human interaction. Even a good person or a person that you would call noble and right is willing to put some things and needs of others ahead of themselves.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we're going to do what we need to do to firewall and make our life okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And really, God calls us, Jesus taught us that no, we are to step outside of ourselves. You know?
Yeah.
And this is what makes globalism and communism so backwards, is they think that they can remove God and engineer that
Mm-hmm.
on a bunch of mentally deficient, sinful people.
Right.
We can't do anything. We can't organize a tea party
Yeah.
without arguing.
Right.
And this is if you would get a hold of the concept that your individual liberty and your individual decision to follow Christ, and only a decision that you can make with Christ, if you would get that right and get that context right, it would pull everything into line with all of us brothers and sisters.
Right.
But we're always worried about what we want, what we need, and it comes right down to even our prayer life at this point.
Yeah, it does.
It comes down. This was in the pregame too. It's the John Chris videos where we're picking out a church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have parking over here, and the coffee's over here, and we have K through 12. You can put your kids in there, and if you come from 9:30 to 10, it's kind of traditional. But if you do 10:30 to 11, it's a little more, progressive, and we're catering to this mentality.
Yeah.
I'm only going to go to church if it fits me.
Yeah.
Silly.
Right. Yeah. And Jesus's gospel doesn't fit humanity because we're so,
Well, it's the solution. It's the solution to our humanity.
Right.
So it fits perfectly.
Well, yeah, you're right.
But it has to be applied.
Right. If
we don't apply it, then it looks like a torturous nightmare.
Yeah. That's why, Paul writes in Corinthians that the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing.
Yeah.
But it's life, brings life to those who follow it, believe, and trust. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, we're gonna keep these short.
I don't know. It's 13 minutes.
I think we should keep it short.
Yeah. So I guess you can let us know your thoughts on prayer and how important our motivations are for prayer. Dottie Wilson Kieran says good morning.
What's up? I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
I don't know, but I just figured Wilson, you would know.
That's almost some kind of racism of some kind.
Well,
what? Just because I'm a Wilson, I must know all the Wilsons?
Yeah, I thought so. And if you don't, now this person's going to feel really bad because you don't know them.
Ma'am, I don't know you, but maybe I do. Hopefully we'll see you in heaven.
No. All right.
All right.
So we're out.
We're out.
Have a good day, weekend, everything. These live streams, to shut them off, are horrible because it's